So as I've been saying, it's been quite a journey going through all the things that I've had to go through and the decisions I've had to make. Um, I can definitely tell you it hasn't been easy. And I can, I'll tell you this. At the beginning of this journey, I actually made the decision not to tell anybody, to be honest. And that was because a lot of people, everybody has their own problems that they're dealing with, for starters. So, number one. Number two, I don't know what other people are dealing with. So I could be calling people and say, oh, this, that, and the other, and they could have just lost a relative to the same issue. You know, where does that put me now? You know, explaining my plight and crying and all of that kind of stuff. And so it was something that I felt to myself, no, it's bad enough me being tormented with the idea. I didn't want to now torment my friends, my family, my loved ones. So I just kept going as normal. I kept going as normal. So 2021 through to 2022, nobody would have known that anything was different, aside from the fact that I had changed my diet. Um, and then I started losing a little bit of weight, but not anything dramatic. But the weight loss was due to the dietary changes. So I leaned more towards an alkaline diet. I, stopped eating sweet things and, you know, all the good things that you can do to change the acidity level of the body. The funny thing is, I was still running my own business at the time, and it was still a very stressful business. It was really stressful. And I felt like I could do it because it was a way to bring money in. But looking back in hindsight now, I think that was the wrong decision. I should have stopped that immediately because it really stressed me out. So, stress, I would say, is the biggest factor that progressed the the cancer further. My ideas at the time was just act normal as if nothing happened, just live my life. But as I said to you, I didn't bring that stress element. I failed to realize how important it is to be at peace with yourself and to be able to relax. Relax and me, we don't fit in the same sentence. There's always something to do as a single mom, as you know. There's always something to do. There's always some place to take your children. There's always, work to catch up with. There's a lot. There's a lot, that being a single mom entails. By this time, though, by like 21, 22, I was lacking energy severely. Like, a normal day would be like, oh, I've worked 10 days when I've only just worked one day. I struggled, but I'm me. I'm a fighter. I used to fight for every day to get things done. So, it was what it was. I just had to push on. My faith came into the whole issue greatly because prior to the cancer diagnosis, I was a person of great faith anyway. That's something I've always had in my lifestyle. And I continued with that. I continued to look for comfort in my faith and to use that to help me along the process. And thank God I still have that even till today because it really helped me a lot. 2023, fast forward to June 2023, I went to visit my doctor because I found that my stomach had started swelling. And my doctor got me into a scan, and I went for a scan. And the results of the scan came out. And I went to visit the doctor, and My doctor didn't tell me to bring anybody to the visit, just said, oh, just come along. By this time, you could have people in, to accompany you for supportive purposes. This was June 2023, as I said. And she just landed it on me that, oh, the cancer spread and it looks like it's moved to the liver. And the reason why the stomach's swelling is because the liver has gone bigger than its normal size. And we can't do anything anymore. So we would like you to sign yourself into a hospice, go to a hospital, or we'll bring end-of-life care to your home. I didn't get the message. I sat there in silence for a while. And she says, anything you want to ask? And I said, yeah, I didn't get what you just said. She said, she repeated herself and said, look, there's nothing we can do anymore. I said, there's absolutely nothing. And she said, probably give you a bit of chemo just to prolong life a little bit. But apart from that, there's nothing we can do. You need to book into end-of-life care. I said to her, I don't think that we're on the same page here. I mean, we just are not on the same page because I didn't get that memo. I didn't get that memo that it's time to go and it's time to just pack up my life and move on. I didn't get that. But what I'm going to do is consult with my board of directors and we're going to have a meeting and we'll find out if there's any truth in that statement and I'll get back to you. She said, which board of directors? I said, oh, there's a whole load of people that I need to consult. A whole load. But ultimately, yes, I did have, by this time I had told, quite a few people, my friends and family members, so they did know. So, I did have them to discuss with. So I said, I'll get back to you. She was like, okay, no problem. I've not seen her since that day. And we're in November 2024. To God be the glory. After she told me that news, I remember taking a picture on the 30th of May, which is actually my daughter's birthday. And by the end of the month, by the first 2 days of July, I took another picture and I literally lost all my body weight in 1 month. So from where I look healthy and normal, I literally looked like a skeleton within 4 weeks. And that was just the knowing in your head. And someone's telling you life's over. Pack up, put your house in order. Boom, go and pick a coffee and you're dead. And I was like, no. And that's when all the symptoms started manifesting. I started having ridiculous symptoms. I couldn't eat anything because my hormones were so out of balance. If I tried to eat, I would, just spit the food out because it didn't taste the same. So I couldn't eat. It was just a really, really terrible time. I managed to get through Christmas and New Year. I went for a detox, a colonic irrigation and detox, which, made me feel really good. And then after that, I decided to travel I traveled to Africa for 6 weeks, which was fine. I mean, eating organic food in Africa was fantastic. And then whilst I was there, things were changing in my body. And I had an accident in the plane on the way back into Manchester, which caused me to be rushed to the hospital from the tarmac. Got to the hospital and they said it was a 5-hour wait, and they put me in a plastic chair, which was really hard to my body. And by this time, as I said, a lot of changes had taken place and I was in pain. And I thought I couldn't wait 5 hours to see a doctor in this state, literally just coming back from Africa. And I was so uncomfortable. And I'd waited about 2-3 hours and I gave up and I said, no, I need to go home. So I called a friend and who helped me to get home. By the time I got home, I realized I couldn't walk. So I now stayed in my room for 2 weeks. Did my daughter's birthday briefly, just in the house, just by myself with her and her siblings. And then after that, 2 weeks later, I planned to admit myself to hospital. However, that plan came early, one day earlier than I'd actually planned, because I was in unbearable pain. As soon as I got to the hospital, they started giving me, what's these things, electrolytes, and, those kinds of IV drips that help, give you strength and energy and things like that. I was so on edge because I was just really worried that they would give me things that I didn't ask for, medications that I didn't ask for. Well, I guess the fears that I was having came to reality because I now entered into, unbeknown to me, without my prior consent to the matter, I now entered into end-of-life care that was performed on me in the hospital. And I went through that process and literally lost my mind and capability at the time. And it came very close to lights out, to the extent that my family were called and they made the trip from London and various places. My brother flew in from America. And they were told that was it, and they needed to say goodbye. Meanwhile, I was still conscious somewhere. And the message I was getting there was, it's not your time yet. And I fought through and I managed to come back. So here I am. And the journey continues.